the cost of just your transportation, your food, and then the goods you need at your house. So those are up a lot higher than that 7% number that we're kind of talking about before, and that's why I think a lot of people are feeling the pain and the impact, paycheck to paycheck with what the cost of living looks like each month. I think this ties into a lot of what our conversation's been this year, and what's driven a lot of the markets is inflation, right? So
Yeah,
I
for
know that we
sure.
had talked previously about midterms, and that was going to be something that we were watching in our last call, and those are behind us now. But inflation's still here. It hasn't gone away. It might be slowing a little bit. Adam, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean that's been the thing on everybody's mind, and all the exit polls for the midterms. That was actually the number one factor, and probably one of the things that swung that gridlock balance of power back. Obviously, there wasn't a presidential election, but you start to see people concerned about inflation and their cost of living, and so they vote accordingly. But we did have a downtick in inflation in October, 7.7%, and probably the bigger issue there is not just a downtick, but it was actually projected at 7.9. So again, people are looking for inflation to start subsiding and coming back toward that, kind of 2%-ish historical average. Obviously, we're nowhere near there. We got the trueflation picture as well, which I think inflation is one of those things that it's such a big category, and it lumps so many things together that maybe you don't always understand exactly where those costs are coming from. So, Kyle, you want to detail that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as we talk to clients and people, live life, they experience inflation in different areas. I mean, you talk about the cost of gas a lot. You hear that in the news and the price per gallon, but it's the grocery stores. It's your food costs are up, 15% roughly. You look at some of your household durable goods around 15%. Housing, we already talked about that being inflated over the last few years, up 23%, and that might be coming down a little bit here, as we just indicated. But it's the cost of just your transportation, your food, and then the goods you need at your house. So those are up a lot higher than that 7% number that we're kind of talking about before, and that's why I think a lot of people are feeling the pain and the impact, paycheck to paycheck with what the cost of living looks like each month. So. Fortunately, like Adam hinted at, we're starting to see these numbers peak and start to come down. And that's kind of one of the things that at least we mentioned last time. And I've used a number of times in meetings with clients recently. Let's see if I can pull up that chart here on, historical inflation and how it peaks. We told clients, market's been rough because of inflation, rising interest rates, and what that's doing to the economy. But eventually that has to peak. And we've been saying for the last month or so that we're starting to get a feel like it's starting to peak. It's not going to go from the 8% number we were seeing down to 5 or 4 in the next month. It's going to gradually go down over time. But historically speaking, once inflation kind of peaks and it's run its course in the economy, we start to see the markets recover. And if we look at historical, peak inflation times, and then we follow it up with 12 months after the peak of inflation, with the exception of 2008. Every stock market period's been positive, and every bond market period's been positive. So, I mean, we'll see what that entails for this situation and the current environment. But a lot of us are feeling that as inflation starts to peak, maybe the Fed will start slowing the amount of rate hikes that they'll do. And you've kind of seen the market react positively the last few weeks, with that as being one of the major indicators of that. So, or it's been showing. So,
this is obviously retail inflation, but I did see today where wholesale prices also were only up 0.2% in October,
versus
and
0.4.
versus 0.4. So you start to see it in all areas, which is important.